George will play every angle to get. This is the thing. We have said it a lot this year. George is absolutely one of the most underrated drivers on the grid, and I really want him to have a car to fight Max, because all the dirty games that Max wants to play that people talk about, like, you know, they're not even really dirty games. He's just an aggressive driver on track, and he takes every advantage, and he's watching everything. George is absolutely that guy. Yeah, and George is absolutely that guy.
That's how it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. George will absolutely play him at that game. So I am really looking forward to it.
By the way, talking about anger issues, Max Verstappen versus George Russell. What the fuck happened between these two?
Oh, so we're talking about that now. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, just in case if anyone has not followed it and everything. So what happened was, in Qatar, Max was penalized one place, and I think one penalty point was all. No penalty points, only one place. No. He was given in Qatar, and it was given because he impeded. No, sorry, it was given because he was driving unnecessarily slowly.
Not impeded.
And
let's just be very clear about that. Though we did talk about the penalty, so let's not go into it at length. Let's just talk about it.
Exactly. Basically, unnecessarily slowly is why he was given the penalty. Now what happened was, once the race was done, Max completely unloaded on George. Had a ton of things to say.
Max put his Yoss mask on and went.
The Yoss gene spoke at that point in time. So what he said was that something on the lines of George going into the steward room and being a completely different person, demanding a penalty, going out of his way, lying, basically called him a double-faced person.
A two-faced.
Two-faced. So once that was done, George didn't get the chance to speak. On Thursday he did, and boy did he speak, and it was hilarious because I was getting pretty much what happened was, so one of our journalists is there, and what she did was she just opened the, what should we call it? She called me and she just kept the phone there, and she said, just listen.
Yeah.
And I was hearing her and I couldn't stop laughing, because what had happened was, this was the third or fourth scrum that George had done. The first was with F1 TV and others. Second was with Sky. And I think this was the third one where the written media was there. And everyone knew, they expected what's going to come, and George just went into him. And he called him everything in the book. He called him a bully. He said that he cannot handle adversity. He claimed that around, a quarter of Red Bull's employees wanted to just leave Milton Keynes because of the kind of abuse he was throwing around after Hungary.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else. I mean, a lot of things. So once that happened, you had Max, which I didn't like the way he actually, honestly, I didn't like the way he approached it, because the English speaking media, they went to him to have, I mean, he should have a right to reply, right? And he just shunned them off. He went to the Dutch media, Telegraph, his favorite. And there he basically, I think he said that, I don't even remember what he called George. He called him a bully as well, and he said I don't remember what particular word he used.
Just the kind of two-faced stuff again, and
something on those lines, and backstabber.
That's it.
Backstabber. So and once all this was said, it's like, and then again, the whole dinner happened, and George did not sit with Max. Apparently, the assholes. That was funny actually. And apparently, Lando was one who arranged that. He kept the both seats together. No driver sat next to George, and no driver sat next to Max, and George came late. And when George came, there was only, he said, you can come sit here. He picked up his seat and went and sat with Lewis. So all that happened, and I think they all probably buried the hatchet with the GDPA meeting. But once all was done, it's a bit like, what was the point of it? For me, the biggest one, what was the point of the whole thing if you are going to basically bury everything within a day? So,
I reckon it wouldn't surprise me if Max, or if George was talking specifically about the thing where he said, like, he said if I see you in turn one, I'm going to put you on your fucking head, right? And George was pushing that line quite a lot. And if I'm honest, like, just knowing things Max has said, that does sound like a Max thing to say.
I mean, I showed you, right? Remember I showed you the screenshot of...
Yeah.
The Netflix guy has actually, he said that.
Okay, right. So they have the recording of it. Yeah. So it's
It's going to be played on Netflix. So, and that's how it came out. But I mean, when the wording that George has said and what the Netflix guys said, it's a bit different. Not exactly the same one,
but kind of same idea.
Yeah, it's the same idea. Max has denied it and everything. But again, I don't really. Again, a lot of fans were upset that how can he say something like this? In anger, the driver says a lot of things.
The other thing is, no one's in the stewards room, and like when Red Bull were saying that George was pushing really hard in the stewards room, I also absolutely believe that, because like George is that type of guy.
Why wouldn't he?
George will play every angle to get. This is the thing. We've said it a lot this year. George is absolutely one of the most underrated drivers on the grid, and I really want him to have a car to fight Max, because all the dirty games that Max wants to play that people talk about, they're not even really dirty games. He's just an aggressive driver on track, and he takes every advantage, and he's watching everything.
Look,
George is absolutely that guy. Yeah, and George is absolutely that guy.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. George will absolutely play him at that game. So I am really looking forward to it. I really hope Mercedes give George a car, because it will be brilliant. But yeah, George in the stewards room reportedly went a bit overboard. But you know what?
So what?
That's the game. That's the game you're playing. Like, look at the perfect example again. Verstappen on the radio, like 20 laps later, what's going on with Lando's yellow flag penalty? That's the type of game these guys are playing. They're looking for every single little advantage. George saw a sniff at a pole position and he went for it. He took it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It worked. So he's not going to stop doing it.
Why should he?
No, he shouldn't.
A lot of people got upset when I said that almost every driver would do it. And they're like, Alonso said that he would not. No, he did not. He was joking, and he's basically stirring shit up. I'm like, if you are making this claim about Alonso of all people, you don't know fucking thing about Formula 1. You really don't know.
Alonso. Come on, people.
I mean, he would ask for a penalty if Max sneezed the wrong way.
Yeah.
He will take every fucking advantage that is possible.
If Max Verstappen said to him, if I see you in turn one, I'll put you on your fucking head, I guarantee you Alonso would be the type of guy to come close to him, run wide, and then over the radio like, oh, he's aggressively coming for me, you heard what he said, you have the recording, report it to the FIA. Alonso plays every game under the sun. That's who he is.
Once that comment was made, Alonso would have gone to the media with that comment, and he would have actually had Max sanctioned. Yeah, he would have done that.
He would have been pushing
does not leave an inch. If Alonso is fighting for the title and Max comes up and says something on these lines, he's going to take advantage of it. And
look, fans just are ridiculous, because these are the same fans as well, let's be honest here, that just have all season said that Lando Norris doesn't have what it takes, he's not ruthless enough. And then when another driver is absolutely ruthless, you're like, that guy's over the top, why is he so ruthless? And it's like, just... These fans are always going to be like this.
It still cracks me up when they say that Lando doing dive bombs into a corner was over the limit.
Anyways. Oh, and now when Max does it, it's lap one, turn one. What's going on here? What do you mean? It's these. Look, these fans are morons. I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah,
there we are. Subscribe. But yeah, I really, really hope George and Max get a thing next year. It'll be fun. By the way, there's some background noise. Has your air conditioning or something come on, or is that?
Is it so loud?
Yeah, it's cool though. Don't worry about it. I think the noise cancellation will take it out in post, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's.
It is. I just switched it on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's cool.
It's weird. I mean, it's December and I'm using an air conditioner.
It's the same here. It's the same here in Mexico.
Global fucking warming, not warning.
I love global warming. Hopefully, it gets rid of a lot of people soon. So George and Max. I think hopefully next year we see a big fight between the two of them, because it will be.
Yeah. One thing on that. Do you think George prepared the whole speech?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think so.
I think he may have done some of it on the fly, but I think he knew what he was going to say. But that's who George is. He's prepared.
You gave him 4 days to prepare. That's
Yeah,
also,
exactly. Yeah.
and he came back. I didn't understand what the fuck Toto was doing, because
Enjoying
all of a sudden,
every
while I
moment
was
of it.
hearing, all of a sudden Toto's deep voice comes into, where did he come from? And what happened was, apparently he was sitting next to George. He didn't really want to intervene, but then the question of Christian Horner was put up, where Christian said that something on the line of George being hysterical in the steward room. And then Toto jumps in, because again he loves Christian, right? And then it's there that the whole little terrier comment came up. So, and one thing which was very hilarious, by the way, he's actually come in and said that the abusers and something, they need to be penalized more, and he specifically mentioned Max. Apparently the deal is gone, right? The bridges are burned now.
This as soon as those guys are fighting on track again, this was always going to happen, you know. Like this is the,
I didn't
this is the
expect.
just
I thought Toto would play the long game this time around. That he
Yeah,
would
I
probably
don't think
not intervene. I didn't expect him to intervene where Max was involved, and apparently that's why we saw Jos Verstappen talking to Susie Wolf afterwards. I mean, what other reason could be there? Then I don't even want to get into that.
I think the simple thing is he, like, as soon as Max is no longer coming to the team, he doesn't care anymore. Like, the only reason to stay silent is because he's hoping to get Max to the team, because that would be the ultimate win. But once that's over, it's like, right, well, we're back to this. I think, look, the thing is, in fairness to Wolf, same as Horner, they back up their drivers quite a bit, which is why Hamilton fans have really pissed me off this season with their whole, Mercedes never does any. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, Wolf was protected. It was nice to see Wolf protecting George, or not protecting him, but backing him up, because it has felt, it has very much felt like George has just been forgotten about, and it's the amount of people that underrate George is ridiculous. It's just, to me, it's just ridiculous. Like, he came in to a new team. Like, I know Mercedes was on his path, but like, he came from Williams to Mercedes and has been, over the 3 seasons, comprehensively the better driver. I think, like, what is it? Out of 3 seasons, people are like, oh, well, you know, George got beaten by Hamilton in points over the season by like 3 points or something. It's like, okay, so what you're saying is a 7-time world champion isn't a big competition for him then? You know, like, you know, like, yeah, anyway, I don't know. I'm looking forward to George having his heyday, because I think it's on the cards. He's getting better. For him. Yeah, I'm worried he'll get kicked out of Mercedes.
Not on those lines. I think I'm more worried about him turning into the next Daniel Ricciardo without the fame.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I don't know. Let's see.
Kimi Antonelli.
That's his problem, isn't it, for next year? But then Kimi has a lot to learn next year. It's not his
problem for next year. It's his problem for the year after and the year after. And more Kimi grows, and more he gets into his own. And
here's the thing, though. Like, what could go in his favor next year for him at Mercedes is they'll be still kind of working Antonelli into things next year, as you said, right? So as Kimi grows. But next year you've got Ferrari, which have historically thrown championships away. So that could move out of his way. Red Bull could struggle next year. And McLaren also are, you know, not going to back one driver over the other, and vulnerable. So, like, next year could be the one chance George has at a title. And if George gets that title, then, you know, that changes everything.
Things change. Things change. Yeah.
Once you have a title,
have to make hay while the sun shines. Right?
Yeah. So